Hey everybody, this is Kaous Games. Today what I want to talk about is my experience with Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, keep in mind, I'm only reviewing the single player version of it because I don't really fool with the multiplayer version. So that this isn't going to be taking that into consideration. I'm going to review it just as a single player experience. Now, so for what I've played and what I've heard, some of the more mainstream media critiques of this game are quite justified. BioWare is a long-standing company, very well-reputed company. With that said, a lot of the mistakes they made with the programming, or they continue to make within the programming in their games, at this point is unacceptable. It was cute at first, little quirks and glitches, but every single game there's always some bullshit, and it's getting annoying. So I'm not a big graphics aren't the most important thing to me, but when you get a massive budget like they had and have 5 years to do something, come on, like the 3D rendering's pretty good. The character models, the environments are pretty nice looking. Not the best thing I've ever seen, but they're pretty alright. So, with that said, some of the facial designs and features, like the eyes specifically, are some of the worst eyes I've seen in this generation. I probably know the worst eyes I've seen. Like, their humanoid modeling of the eyes are terrible in this game most of the time. There's a couple exceptions. Like Liam's eyes look normal, but it looks like they actual model the character off someone's face. But they're generic characters. Oh my god, it's absolutely terrible. The facial rendering is not the greatest either. The game, you can glitch through the ground in multiple places. I've done it. I rarely play a game. Like, usually for those kind of glitches, you have to be looking for it. This happened like regularly. I'd be glitching through the ground. You try to deploy a special ops team, the button stops working to accept it, at least in my experience. This is a plethora of different glitches that BioWare, in my opinion, or from my experience, is starting to become known for, and it's not cute anymore. Get your shit together, fire your programmers, hire new ones. Do what you got to do. This is getting ridiculous. Okay? So, with that said, that's pretty much where most of the negativity lies for me, in the programming and general designs. And sometimes the performance of the game, it stops in place and freezes, and it doesn't do that on most other games. Every other game I play on this generation is pretty smooth, but this one's just notably not. But aside from that, away from the original trilogy, where does it stand up with others? Well, to me personally, I would say the cast, the story is good. It's entertaining, it's engaging, and it ties in well with the original trilogy. There were a lot of people who thought maybe it wouldn't, but I feel like that the way when you do certain missions in the game and you really see what the true purpose for the Andromeda Initiative was, it makes sense and it ties in with the original trilogy. That's good, but as far as the protagonists go in this game, it's a little bit rinse and repeat. You have a group of aliens who want to turn you into them. Spoiler a little bit. They want to turn you into them, and they're trying to wreak havoc on you. It sounds very familiar, doesn't it? We got the Reapers 2.0. Only not quite as intimidating as the Reapers or the Collectors. What can you do? But overall, that's, the story is good, but it's a little bit tried and true, and it's not very original. Even for the Mass Effect, like if you're going to use a trope, you don't use your own trope again. And they've used their own trope again, which is whatever. What was the execution like? Well, execution in Mass Effect has always been pretty good. I would say the cast is a decent cast. I would say my personal favorite cast is the cast of Mass Effect 2. I would say they're a little bit more engaging and entertaining than the cast of Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 3 brought back a few of those people, but they also you were working with the cast of Mass Effect 2, so it made it better. I felt like the cast of Mass Effect 1 could be a little bland at times, say for Garrus and of course Shep. I didn't really like Ash or Kaidan. I like Liara. And but the real cast that I enjoyed the most was in Mass Effect 2, and I will still say hold up after this game that Mass Effect 2 was my favorite out of them, mainly because it was solid from start to finish. Mass Effect 3, for me, contrary to popular opinion, was a very solid game until the end, which knocked it down several points. Even when they corrected it, it still wasn't very well done, in my opinion. So Mass Effect 2 was my favorite out of the series, and I will say I like this one better than Mass Effect 1 at least. There was a lot that was done well here. There's multiple planets, and on those planets you have a solid open world environment, which is a big difference from older Mass Effects, which is more mission based. You drop on a spot, you do a mission, and you're out of there. You probably don't go back there again, maybe. Most times. I like that. You go back, you're trying to set up outposts, you're trying to make the cluster viable to humans and other Milky Way species. As I find a new home in this cluster, I will say that because it's just a cluster, though the cluster is pretty big, and since it's centered in one cluster, unfortunately, the new additions, species-wise, are not that fast. What was fascinating about the original trilogy, they were constantly throwing out new races of aliens, and that made it, a very wondrous place and entertaining. Here, you literally get two different new races, and they cut a whole bunch of Milky Way races out. You don't even have the interactions with other races that made the things interesting in the original trilogy. But like I said, the gameplay wise it's been revamped. It's a lot better, a lot more solid. I like the interactive go into cover more so than trying to constantly fiddle around with the button to try to get yourself in the cover. It does it automatically for you, which is nice. And I like the jump thrusters and the evasion thrusters that make things a lot more fast paced and a little bit cooler. It does until you're completely level up and really high up there in level. The game does recapture some of that difficulty that the original Mass Effect had. Although there's never been a Mass Effect that has the complete team customization such as Mass Effect 1. They got rid of that idea and they stayed abandoning it. You can't put new armor on your squad mates, but as far like you could in Mass Effect 1, or change your loadout weapons and everything like that. But what you can do is there's plenty of customization to be had with your rider character, which I liked a lot. And so the customization definitely was very well done, at least for your own character. Unfortunately, like I said, they abandoned the Anyway, they abandoned the team customization aspect in Mass Effect 1, and it's never come back. So, and that's no different here. Now, how's the main lead draw here? I think it's Ryder, to me at least, is as good as Shep. I like Ryder a lot. I like the two main characters, is Ryder and his SAM unit, which is artificial intelligence that's implanted in him. So they're basically a partnership, and I really enjoyed that dynamic because Sam is like as much Ryder as Ryder is Sam. So it's a very interesting dynamic. It plays with an interesting concept. I really liked that dynamic, which made me basically like Ryder just as much as Shepard. This is a very interesting take. And that is one unique thing in this new game, Mass Effect, that I think people will like. Like I said, the cast was decent. We got Cora. She's basically the equivalent of a Asari weeaboo. She's like obsessed with Asari because she served with him. But she's decent. You got PB, who's the weird social issue Asari, which is very strange. Their species generally seems to have their stuff together, and she does not at all, which is very interesting. Liam's kind of naive sometimes, and I don't know. I guess he's alright, but he's not like one of my favorite characters. You see, Joel, who was a well done character. I like that species they did give us, the new species they did give us. It was a well done character. I will say the best character to me was Old Man Drac, the Krogan. He was the best character, most well written to me. I like Drac a lot. But still, like I said, overall the cast was not the best cast out of the lot. So they tried though, But anyway, like I said, open world. You got multiple planets that have a pretty sizable area of explorable content and plenty of side quests. You won't be done with this game if you play all day. It's going to take you a while to finish this game if you do most of the stuff. Side quests while going through the game, it's going to take you a while. So definitely worth picking up. Definitely not as bad as the mainstream media has made it out to be. If you're a Mass Effect fan, you'll probably enjoy this. Is it the best of the series or of its namesake? Probably not, but it definitely is going to be worth your time. Alright, that's all. This is Kaous with Kaous Game. So next time, gamers, game on, right?